Whenever I think about Hinduism, I feel like a small grain of sand on the shores of a large ocean. And today, as I want to talk to you something about Hinduism, I feel humbled because of the lofty nature of the concepts of Hinduism and its peacefulness and its history. It is the oldest religion in the world. It is the most peaceful and the most persecuted religion in the whole world. Its peaceful nature and ahimsa doctrines have influenced the entire world, and great minds like Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Well, 1 billion people of the world, almost 15%, believe in Hinduism, and they are all following the non-violence, tolerant ways of it. And they all have been, more or less, a model to other religious followers. But what has happened is, in the history, we find both Islam and Christianity have branded it very badly. They have been deriding the religion, mocking its gods and its rituals, making, all the time degrading this religion, with the impact that the world has come to see this as an inferior religion. Whereas everybody knows these days that Christianity is a mythical religion, that Jesus Christ did not even live. And Islam, Allah has been a God who was existing in the nomadic tribes, and later on he was given a universal coloring by Muhammad. But whereas in Hinduism we find very lofty philosophical concepts which are even compatible with the modern science, and the world does not know it. It could be because Hinduism has been a lot different from the Western religions, and the Western people have been fed a wrong information about the religion. And Hinduism, to be honest and frank with you, is a non-dogmatic religion without a founder, without any authoritative single text to follow. It does not have a dictator God. And everybody is a free religion where anybody can follow a path of his choosing. Even agnostics or atheists can be a Hindu too. Or even the followers of all others are welcome here, because Hinduism accepts the potential truths of every other faith in the world. It's so all-encompassing. It is so wide open. It is so accommodative. It has welcomed all religions in India in the last so many centuries. Even those religions which persecuted it, which harmed it, have been welcomed. And even within Hinduism we find sects which were atheists, like the Charvakas, whose founder advocated there's no God and even denied the authority of the Vedas. So to be a Hindu, it is not necessary that you follow verbatim the Vedas, which is the most sacred books, or even deny its God. A atheist can be Hindu. The only thing is, maybe you accept the culture of India, the ways of life of India. Because Hinduism is more a way of life. It's a philosophical approach to life. There is nothing rigid. The central, belief system of Hinduism is that we need to understand the entire cosmos is one God, an eternal, uncreated, transcending consciousness. The entire cosmos, whatever we perceive as reality, is all part and parcel of that consciousness, that underlying omniscient, omnipotent consciousness, which is one with it. Everything we see, whatever that comes and goes, they're all Maya, but they're all expressions of that cosmic Godhead, the eternal reality. So, every human self, what we call Atman, the self or the Atman, the soul, everything contained within that term Atman, is one with the universal cosmic God, Brahman. So Atman Brahman is one. So every Hindu need to realize the ultimate goal in life is realize that we are one with the eternal oneness. And this particular view has been exponent or exposed by the Advaita philosophy, in which Shankaracharya, and of course the Vedas have earlier speculated and written about it, the entire universe, whatever is there in the universe, and all living beings, including humans, animals, reptiles, even plants, whatever we find in the nature, they are all one with the eternal absolute reality. And the life goal, or the moksha as we call in Hinduism, is merging with that absolute Brahman or absolute oneness. We forget about the term Brahman, but in more, let's say common sense term, we all emanate from the universe. Each one of us, as a small bundle, a small minuscule energy bundle, which emanate from the storehouse of this universal energy. And we return, when we die, that minuscule energy particle goes back into the universal storehouse of energy. This is very, very similar to the concept of Hinduism, where every single person need to realize that we need to merge with the eternal consciousness, the eternal reality which is one with the cosmos. And of course, you may say that Hinduism is having millions of gods, or there are pantheon of gods. Well, Hinduism basically is monotheistic. The Brahman, as just now I mentioned, is the entire cosmos, including the Atman, the soul of humans, animals, everything. And at the same time, it has got a trinity. That is what Hinduism is saying. We are not particular that you need to follow all this. What we make you understand is the entire cosmos is one, unity, oneness. There is oneness behind everything. Of course, in Hinduism, they say that monotheistic God, Brahman, has got a trinity, or we have the creator Brahma, and the Vishnu, the preserver, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. This trinity, just like in Christianity. These are all religious concepts. But the truth behind, the Advaitic principle behind such Hindu concepts are very, very lofty. And it is this truth which is very much compatible with the modern science. Of course, Hinduism believes that we need to, get rebirth because of our karma. If our karma has been bad, we need to get rid of the bad karma through another life. So birth, death, and then rebirth, or what you call samsara, is a belief in Hinduism. And through that process, we get refined and we ultimately merge with the Brahman. That is what Hindus believe. But even without such, let's say, strict beliefs, the basic idea that everything is one in the universe, and we need to understand that this basic oneness, we are part and parcel of it, and we come from that basic oneness and we go into that basic oneness. That is eternal truth. There are so many, in Hinduism, as I already mentioned to you, this God of Hinduism, this Godhead, because there are so many gods and goddesses, which are various aspects of the absolute Brahman or absolute Godhead of Hinduism. These there are so many gods and goddesses. For every nature expression we find a god. For every animal, monkey, or let's say elephant, we have a god. The Ganesha is a god. Let's say Hanumanji is another god, revered by millions and millions of people. Even snake is a god, eagle is a god. Because eagle actually is, a vehicle for a god. So all these cannot be, just poo-pooed that they are bad. No, these are all various expressions. Mountain is a god. If you look at the cultures in the world, every single culture in the world personified nature phenomena. You look at even the Africans, Mesopotamian, Sumerian, and let's say Indus Valley civilization, the Japanese, Chinese, all of them had nature gods. Because that is how humans began to understand, think about gods. But in Hinduism, we find a rationality for the existence of various types of gods. Because everything is an expression of the ultimate reality. And that ultimate reality is oneness, and we are part of that oneness. Of course, there are a lot of scriptures in Hinduism. You have the Vedas. Vedas are all, the Rig Veda, for example, are hymns addressed to deities. You have the Samaveda, which are hymns for rituals. Yajurveda, that, gives the practices or the details of rituals. And the Atharva Veda, which is actually some mantras. At that time, you should understand mantras for, against enemies, against sorcerers, against diseases. These are the way, people begin to think at that time. And of course, Vedas has got a lot of, other interpretation. You have the Samhitas, you have the Aranyakas, you have Brahmanas and Upanishads. These are all interpretations of the Vedas. So, all these are called Shuddhi. Shuddhi means what? What the ancient sages, after years and years of meditation, have written down as they heard it from the, let's say, from the universal consciousness. So Shuddhi is sacred literature. And of the sacred literature, which we mention now, the Upanishads, the interpretations of most of the Vedic literature, are very important and very deep. And the Advaita philosophy, which comes from Vedanta or the Upanishads, that is the deepest philosophy in any world religion so far. And of course, we have other, Smriti literature. Smriti means what? Which is remembered, not as sacred or authoritative, as Shruti. So in Smriti, we have the Idihasas like Ramayana, Mahabharata, huge books like Iliad and Odyssey of the Greeks. In these Idihasas, we have Lord Krishna coming in Mahabharata, siding with Pandavas. Because there was a battle between Pandavas and Kauravas, where Lord Krishna sides with one faction. And you have Ramayana, where Valmiki, the author, depicts the story of Lord Rama and Goddess Sita. And there are so many other books in the Smriti literature, because there should be law books. So you have Dharma Shastras, you have Artha Shastra about, economic, political policies. You have Nidhi Shastras, the Nibanga. There are so many books which are the Puranas, which gives a lot of folklores. These are all books which are very much essential, because the law book shows what each one's dharma is and how each one should live. What should be the action to be followed? Every person has got, every Hindu has to follow, basically the dharma. You have the kama, artha, and you have moksha. So basic concepts of Hinduism are all described in this Smriti literature. But basically, or much more deeper philosophical insights are given there, which are in the Upanishads, which is in the Bhagavad Gita. These are the books and literature which all of us should read, should understand. I mean, before we criticize Hinduism as a nonsense religion, as a religion, which adores snakes, which is after monkey gods or gods of elephants, there is no meaning in telling something like that superficially. As I mentioned, go deeper into that. When we understand everything is one, everything is the part of one universal consciousness, one universal being, then everything is deserving worship. So every god in Hinduism has got a meaning. And these gods, as I mentioned earlier, are not like the dictator gods of Muhammad, dictator gods of Christianity or Islam. They never asked his followers to go and kill or murder people or conduct bloodshed, killing millions and millions of people. They never asked the followers to go and kill the infidels or convert other people. You will never find, in Hinduism, a war for converting others. You don't find a war for, spreading the religion. You don't find a religious conflict. Because Hinduism is very, very peaceful and tolerant religion. The gods are also like that. They are so peaceful that they have instructed all the followers to be peaceful with all others, to be loving, to follow ahimsa, non-violence. So they are not allowed to kill any animal. You look at, in Christianity or Islam, if there is a festival, billions of goats, billions of ox, billions of cows get killed because they want to eat, and their meat is eaten up. Every single animal has got their own soul, their own atman, and they cannot be harmed. Nothing should be harmed. We have the right to live in this world. Everything has got a right to live there, and Hinduism accepts that. Those who are hearing me, I welcome you to go and study Hinduism. Everything is loved. This is the only religion which says love everything. Love nature, love animals. Not like the other gods. These gods of Christianity and Islam, they are all very angry, they are jealous, they are genocidal, killing people, infanticidal, killing children. If you see my earlier videos, you will find that the Christian God sends his angel to cut the throats of children. You will also find the Christian God killing, massacring millions. In the Bible itself, we can count there's more than 1 crore of people killed by God. Both the gods, Allah and the Christian God, kills the enemies of their prophet or their people, as if only one particular sect belongs to them. They're dictator gods. Nobody else should go to, another god. Whatever they say, they are highly intolerant. The religions are also highly intolerant. Whereas Hinduism is not intolerant. Hinduism is a way of life. You see, you can follow your own life. You can follow your own beliefs. But basically, maybe you need to accept the culture of Bharat or the culture of the nation, and then live a life which is more non-violent, following the principles of ahimsa, and understanding that we are part and parcel of a universal being or the cosmic being. And the cosmic being is all that is the real. And now science says that there is nothing, no reality in the world. The sun, the moon, these planets, they all will go. They are not real things. Everything goes. The galaxies, they will all go away after some time. There will be eternal darkness, and then maybe another, let's say Big Bang may come. The point is, what remains is only one thing, energy, which can neither be created nor be destroyed. And the Hindu basic concept of Hindu God the monotheistic, the eternal reality is similar or is the same. We can neither be created nor destroyed like the energy in the world. And whatever we see, you see the Hindus go and do a lot of rituals, they pray, they go and ring the bells or do whatever they want to do, because everything is for realizing that we are part of this cosmic oneness. And there are in Hinduism a number of sects. You can find, Vaishnavites who follow the Vishnu, the god Vishnu. You have Shaivites who follow Lord Shiva. You have the Shakti, the people who follow another deity, the female deity of Hinduism. So there are a few sects, but these sects are not like the sects of Christianity or Islam who fight, who are at the throats of each other. No, these sects that we find in Hinduism are all within the umbrella. They are not defying each other. They are not enemies of each other. They love each other. They know that they are within the Vedas, within the Vedic, philosophy, within the Dvaitic philosophy. And they will not go and murder others like we find in Yemen. See, the civil wars happening in Syria, Yemen, in so many countries, Iraq, Nigeria, Sudan, earlier in Somalia. They are cutting the throats of others, civil war, in the name of religion. Sunnis fighting Shias, or in Christianity, Protestants fighting the Catholics. But in Hinduism, these sects that we are talked about, they are all, they are following a particular deity of their own liking within the whole framework, umbrella of Hinduism. Within the whole framework of one eternal, universal Brahman. They all accept that. So there is no conflict. And then Hinduism, you may find that there are certain things which may look to you, unacceptable. Maybe you may not like somebody worshipping a snake, but again a snake has got equal right, has got an Atman to live here. Eagle has got, monkey has got, everything has got. That is good in the today's scientific perspective. We need to understand, just like us, every single creature in the world has got a right to live. And that is what Hinduism is advocating. Now, before any one of you try to degrade the religion, go in depth. I have not been able to go much in depth into this religion, but I know a little bit here and there. I have been following it. In fact, I was born a Catholic and raised a Catholic, and I was sent to the seminary to study to become a Catholic priest. But after years of study, scholastic or Catholic philosophy and Christian theology, I understood that Jesus is a myth fabricated by the evangelists of the time as per the gods, then existing gods like Horus, Osiris, Dionysus, Mithra and things like that. So I knew that there is no meaning in remaining there. Even their main god, Yahweh, was only a Middle Eastern, war and mountain deity who was brought to the EI pantheon, of course, and later on he evolved into universal God with the Jews. So I left the seminary. And I have studied Hinduism. I have been studying. And I find more aligned with this concept than any other religion. Maybe I do not, believe in any one of the gods of Christianity or Islam or even, many of the other religions. But here, in Hinduism, there is no separate God. I do want each one of you to understand that. Hinduism, the God is the one cosmic, presence. And that cosmos, whatever that you call, which is not permanent, but is underlying the cosmos, that is the concept of the ultimate reality. And we all will merge with that ultimate reality in the sense our energy goes with that. And whatever path that will lead us, or whatever path that will help us go into that ultimate reality, let us accept that. Let us from today stop, labeling Hinduism with anything bad before we understand it. I do hope each one of you will hear me and will do what I have just now mentioned. Thank you very much. Thank you.